Okay. So we're just going to get to our speaker. So today we're welcoming Dr. Anne Therriault, licensed Unity teacher. She's coming to you from Ottawa, and she is a longtime spiritual seeker and was engaged in the religious community for a long time through her family, the Catholic Church. And I corrupted her and brought her to Unity. And she's doing great. So we are so happy to have her here today. Anne, you can take it away.
I'll be happy to.
I'm just going to turn off. Turn off.
Yep. So, good morning. It is always a pleasure for me to offer a talk, and I'm so glad for this opportunity. I do have something very interesting for you today. Not that my previous talks were not interesting. So many stories.
Excuse me. Hold on.
Yep.
As you see.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to know if in Unity Kitchener what you're seeing, because we're not seeing the speaker view here. Are you seeing me and Anne right now?
We're good. We can see you both. Yep.
Oh, you can see us both. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We can't see that here, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Okay,
This
thank
way
you.
they'll look at me and not look at the screen. Okay.
I can get
Oh wait. No. Sorry. We're having a dance here. It's my fault. Okay, here we go. So sorry about all that. But let's go back to this idea that many stories follow a pattern known as the hero's journey, which is a process, me and proverbs and process and process, in which a person leaves the familiar, faces challenges, and is transformed through experiences. Now, at the heart of the journey, the hero's journey, is what we call the ordeal stage. And that is a moment through great testing that the hero confronts fear, uncertainty, or seemingly impossible odds. It is in this particular moment that the hero discovers deeper courage, strength, or purpose. But the ordeal is not simply about surviving a challenge. It is about becoming someone new because of it. So let me say that again. The ordeal is not just simply about surviving a challenge. It is becoming someone new because of it. So today we will explore the ordeal stage from the 2017 movie Wonder Woman. And we will examine the transformation from sense consciousness to active Christ consciousness, which is to live the truth we know. Haha, living the truth we know. That should sound familiar. It is Unity's fifth principle, right? So what do I mean by transformation from sense consciousness to active Christ consciousness? It is a journey from being a bystander to being an upstander, which is a journey from observing truth to embodying truth. Now, knowing the truth and living the truth is not always the same thing, correct? Okay, so my talk is keeping with the subjects of heroes and transformation that I've already discussed in the past, and it does speak to Unity's OSCO's annual theme of the divine within. Now, many of us know Wonder Woman. May it be through the comic books, okay? Or the television series with Linda Carter, and more recently with the movies starring Gal Gadot. Well, Wonder Woman has become a symbol of courage and conviction. In the 2017 movie Wonder Woman is the story of Diana, an Amazon princess who leaves her familiar and protective homeland to help humanity amid one of history's most devastating wars, World War I. And the particular scene I'm going to use today is the scene of the no man's land. As Diana witnesses suffering caused by fear, by violence, by indifference, she arrives at this no man's land, which is a battlefield where everyone believes nothing can be done for those who are trapped beyond it. Now, we're still in the power of imagination, and as Mary gave us a great prayer about it today, I want you to picture this. It's dark. We're in a trench. And Diana hears about the fate of the village of Veld. That is beyond, on the other side of the no man's land. Well, unable to just stand by and do nothing or, keep the status quo, what does she do? She climbs out of the trench. She starts deflecting bullets. Oh, now the guys are going, oh my God, and we better go help her. And then what does she do? She liberates the village of Veld. So the ordeal stage marks a turning point in the story. And here it is the moment when the hero, Diana, moves from observing or witnessing the suffering to acting in order to transform it. Okay, before I go any further, I said bystander and upstander. What do I mean by those? So a bystander is someone who sees a wrong or a need, but stays on the sideline. They witness, but they don't act. With the movie in mind, bystanders would be those who watch the suffering from behind the shield of safety. To give you a personal example, when I'm driving around and I get to an intersection and there's someone there begging for money, for food or cigarette, what do? I smile and I wave back at them. I see their suffering, but I am uncertain as to how to help, what to do, so I do nothing else. I'm a bystander in this case. An upstander is someone who chooses to step in, to speak out, to help, even when it is uncomfortable or risky. They turn compassion into action. In terms of the movie, upstanders would be those who step into the no man's land of a situation, who they refuse to stay silent, even when everybody else is saying, that's impossible. That's too dangerous, right? So why would someone hesitate to be an upstander? What are the reasons and the blockages causing hesitations? Well, in my personal example about people in need, I told you that uncertainty was blocking me from acting. Not knowing what to say, what to do, or if I have really anything, my place to do anything about it, has a lot to do with this idea of uncertainty blockage. My inaction really is based on the fact that somebody else going to do something about this. There's an organization to deal with these type of situations. So it's kind of this idea of not my responsibility type of thing. So uncertainty is one reason, but there are many other reasons for hesitation to being an upstander, and I would like to expose some of them to you. Fear. Fear is the most universal barrier. We fear getting hurt, making things worse. We fear standing out. We fear being judged or rejected. So fear keeps people frozen even when your heart says go. In Christian healing, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, reminds us that we must do our inner work, turning within and calling forth the divine love within us and everything. When we do, we become poised to speak and act from the transforming power of divine love. And in fact, Charles wrote, "Divine love in the heart establishes one in fearlessness and invincible courage. Love guides right speech and right action. When we connect inwardly, we receive the courage to say the right words and to take the next right step." So love is an antidote to fear. Another reason for hesitation in being an upstander is social pressure or conditioning. We live in a world where we are bombarded by messages. We've been taught, stay quiet, avoid conflict. In a given situation, we may even tell ourselves, no one else is stepping in, then maybe I shouldn't either. That's perhaps the classic bystander effect, believing in safety by following the crowd. So recollecting the scene from Wonder Woman, until Diana showed up, everyone remained in the safety of the trench. So social conditioning tells us to look outward for approval. Spiritual practice teaches us to go within for guidance. Rather than conforming to society's whim, we must claim our true identity. We are truly spiritual, not merely social. Instead of asking, what is everyone else doing? We begin asking, what is mine to do? And there's a Bible verse that I found and I went, oh man, this expressed just this idea right here. And it's Romans 12 verses 2. And it says, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind. So conformity says, do what everyone else does. Transformation says, allow your consciousness to be renewed so that you can discern a higher way. The divine within is an antidote to that social conditioning. Disconnection, separation, that's another reason blocking us to be upstander. Sometimes people are just not tuned in. It may be because a lack of awareness or empathy. And we may also create separation in believing that our actions won't matter. What can one person really do? Oh, this thing is just too big for me to deal with, right? So when we perceive ourselves as isolated individuals, it becomes easier to overlook suffering or to believe someone else's pain has nothing to do with us. Antidote. Unity's first principle states that there is one presence and one life expressing through all. And that was in the daily word today, that idea. So this means that beneath our apparent differences, we are connected in the one life of oneness, Carl Sagan's words, right? So as we awaken to that truth, compassion becomes less of a duty and more of a natural response. We begin to recognize that another's suffering is not separate from us. The antidote to disconnection is not taking responsibility for everything. Now hear me. It is becoming fully present to what is before us. We may not be called to solve every problem, but we can respond to that need that is before us. And when we remember that divine power works through willing hearts and willing hands, then the question shifts from what difference can one person make to what might be possible if I allow Spirit to work through me. But ultimately, the blockage causing hesitation to being an upstander or inaction altogether is self-protection. Hey, choosing safety, comfort, or stability is a normal thing to do. And there's also the wanting to protect one's job, one's reputation, or relationships. And sometimes, the cost of stepping up just feels too high. But unity invites us to place our trust in divine good rather than in external conditions. When we remember that our source is the one power, one presence, we become less dependent on the approval of others, we're less dependent on comfort or security that the world offers, and we are more willing to act according to truth. You know what? Comfort keeps us exactly where we are. Transformation calls us forward. So the question is not what is most comfortable, but what is mine to do? And the question shifts from what might I lose to what is seeking expression through me? And at the heart of an upstander's transformation, there comes a moment when remaining comfortable becomes more painful than acting. Spiritual growth often begins at the edge of what feels safe and familiar. Okay, let us go back to this idea, to the movie of Diana and her ordeal. It actually symbolizes the awakening of divine faith and strength, the capacity to stand firm in truth and love, even when fear would hold us back. Faith says something can be done. Strength says, I will continue even when it's difficult. And Diana demonstrates both of these. She sees possibility that others cannot see, and then she acts despite resistance. So what does strength mean for us as spiritual upstanders, and not necessarily through battle, but through steadfast faith and compassionate action? How does inner strength rooted in faith, spiritual conviction, and perseverance support us in taking action aligned with truth? In unity, strength is one of the 12 powers. It is not brute force, but it is the spiritual capacity of remaining steadfast in the awareness of truth. Charles Fillmore describes strength as spiritual energy, endurance, and steadfastness. It is the power that enables us to stand firm in our convictions and persevere through challenges. Strength is not measured by how much force we can exert, but by how faithfully we can embody truth when circumstances tempt us to give up, give in, or look away. So The power of strength supports us being an upstander, someone who acts from divine conviction rather than fear. True strength expresses not only through courage in danger, but also through inner steadfastness, faith, and love in action. So many people possess good intentions, but it is strength that carries those intentions into action. In the no man's land scene, everyone around Diana accepted the collected belief that nothing can be done. Strength allows her to remain faithful to her inner knowing despite external pressure. How often do you know the right thing to do and yet allow fear, a habit, or public opinion to silence you? The power of strength helps us remain aligned with truth even when we stand alone. True strength comes from spiritual poise, not personal willpower. So Diana's greatest strength in the movie is not about the fact that, bullet cannot stop her. It is that fear cannot stop her. She remains faithful to her vision of what is possible when everyone around her has accepted that what they believe is impossible. Spiritual strength is the divine capacity within us to remain faithful to truth, grounded in love, and committed to compassionate action, even when fear, doubt, and opposition tempts us to turn away. It is the power that transforms us it's a power that transforms faith from a belief into a way of living. In the movie Wonder Woman, Diana puts herself in harm's way. But to be an upstander goes beyond physical courage. So Diana's action in the no man's land is dramatic because it involved physical risk. But the underlying principle is that she refuses to remain passive in the face of suffering. Unity teachings suggest many ways we can be an upstander without necessarily placing ourselves in physical danger. Being an upstander begins when we refuse to accept indifference as normal. It starts with seeing clearly and recognizing our shared humanity. And Mary's prayer telling us, I see. Yes, we must open our eyes and see. Unity teaches that words are creative and powerful. Speaking truth with love can be an act of courage. So challenge gossip, speak against prejudice, and defend someone who is being unfairly criticized. Speak up and say, what did you say? Bring others to actually discern their own behavior. In the movie, Diana physically protects others, but in everyday life, we are often called to accompany rather than rescue. Okay? We don't have to be heroes in that way. An upstander can listen without judgment, offer encouragement, help someone access resources, walk alongside someone through a difficult time. We acknowledge and we recognize that each person possesses divine potential. Being an upstander is to support others without taking away their own power. In my favorite booklet right now, Mornings with Myrtle, on day 8, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, is quoted as saying, as you learn to see the fullness of God's life and love and power and substance in others, you will know that you need not pour out your own for them. You will have the knowledge and the light to call their attention to what they have and to prompt them to use it. So see, This illustrates very well how to be an upstander without putting yourself in harm's way. Remember, just be a lighthouse. Many people imagine an upstander as someone who protects others, but sometimes we must stand up for ourselves, such as when we want to refuse to accept mistreatment. Unity teaches that divine presence lives within each person, so standing up for yourself can be an act of honoring that sacred worth. Being an upstander for myself, well, it starts with getting away from a harmful situation or asking for help. That's really being asking for help. And releasing limiting beliefs. Another thing is setting boundary. And setting healthy boundaries is an act of an upstander. So with this in mind, can you imagine times when you have been an upstander? What are the current no man's land in your lives? Where have you accepted the belief that nothing can be done? It might be a strained relationship, a lonely neighbor, a workplace bullying. It could be community division, self-doubt, or family conflict. Being an upstander does not always mean charging into danger. Sometimes it means taking one courageous step where everyone else has stopped believing change is possible. As Maya Angelou said, do right. Right may not be expedient, it may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul. So each of us has a no man's land. It may not be a battlefield. It may be a difficult conversation we have been avoiding. It may be a relationship that needs healing. It may be a lonely neighbor, an injustice we have witnessed, a harmful situation we need to leave, or a truth we need to speak. So like the soldier in the trench, we may tell ourselves that nothing can be done. We may wait for someone else to act. We may convince ourselves that our contribution would not matter. Yet, the spiritual journey asks a different question. What is mine to do? Not what's safe, not what is comfortable, not what everyone else is doing, but what is mine to do? And the good news is that we do not take that step alone. The divine love that dissolves fear, the wisdom that guides us, the awareness of our oneness with all life, and the strength that sustains us, we have all that already within us. Diana's greatest strength was not that bullets could not stop her. Her greatest strength was that fear could not stop her. So where is Spirit calling you to take one courageous step? This week, I invite you to identify one no man's land in your life and take one action that moves you from bystander to upstander. It may be a conversation, a prayer, a boundary, a word of encouragement, an act of service, or a stand for what is right. So as Maya Angelou said, do right. Right is not expedient, it is not profitable, but it will satisfy your soul. And may we have the faith to see what is possible, the strength to act upon it, and the willingness to live the truth we know. So it is. Okay, now I invite you to, let's take a moment to turn within. You may gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or just lower your gaze. Allow your body to settle comfortably. Let your hands rest gently in your lap and bring your awareness to your breath. Take a slow, deep breath in and gently release it. Again, breathing in and breathing out. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest and belly. Inhale and exhale. And let each breath bring you more fully into this moment. Now, as you breathe, let your body soften. Release any tensions in your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your hands. Let it all melt into the presence of peace. Let the rhythm of your breath bring you into a place of stillness. As the body relaxes, allow the mind to become quiet and the heart to become open. Allow your mind to clear and release all thoughts. If any thoughts arise during this meditation, just say the word thought. If any feeling, sensing, just say feeling, sensing. Do not place any judgment and return to following your breath. As you rest in this moment, remember that the presence of the divine is here. Divine love surrounds you. Divine wisdom guides you. Divine strength lives within you. Take a moment to imagine yourself standing at the edge of your own no man's land. Perhaps it's a situation that calls for courage. Perhaps it is a conversation you have been avoiding. Perhaps it's a person who needs compassion. Perhaps it's a truth that is waiting to be lived. There's no need to solve anything right now. Simply notice what comes to mind. Now, bring your attention to your heart and silently affirm, I am not alone. Divine love is with me. I am not alone. Divine love is with me. I am guided by divine wisdom. I am guided by divine wisdom. I am one with all life. I am one with all life. I am strengthened by the Spirit within me. I am strengthened by the Spirit within me. Now imagine yourself taking one small step forward, not the whole journey, not every stop, not every step, just one step. Notice how it feels to move beyond fear and into faith, beyond hesitation and into trust, beyond observing and into compassionate action. Rest for a moment in that feeling.